Hello. It's time now for another in the series of the runes. And as we're getting to the end of the rune series, we start dealing with very primordial forces of the world. So in the last Aed, you start with Tyr, which is the father god, right? Then there's Berkana, which is the mother goddess. Eos, the animal kingdom, the horse, right? Manas, the human. Then we have Lagus, which is the waters, the primordial water, which is like a symbolic representation within man of the female, right? So now we are at Ingwaz. And Ingwaz is a very interesting and mysterious rune. It is, you'll note, it is self-contained, right? It has, most of the runes begin from a point and go somewhere and then end a point. This one is an enclosed diamond shape. And there's a lot of discussion about the meaning of the Ingwaz rune. And I think sometimes it can be a bit difficult to interpret for some people because it is a rune that was not, for academics, I mean, because it was a rune that was not preserved. It belonged to the Elder Fufar, to the oldest Norse alphabet, but then didn't get passed down to the subsequent ones. And I think that there's some very clear and easy ways to grasp what Ingwaz is about. The first thing, you'll find it in the name. So Ingwaz is almost certainly named after Yngvi, who is, or rather, it's the older version of that name, who is a legendary figure in Norse mythology. Yngvi was, in some ways, like the progenitor of the royal line, you could say, right? He was the mythical father of what would become the line of great Swedish kings. So he's a father of kings, basically. That's what he is. And Yngvi is sometimes intermingled with the god Frey, because there are some similarities to them. But I mean, the idea was that he was, the important thing about Yngvi is that he was the progenitor of a kind of a civilization, okay? But to do that, he had to put aside what he had most valued until that time. So in some interpretations of the Ingwaz rune, we see in a lot of, because we're talking about modern interpretations here, we see symbolism that suggests that this is a rune about like castration or something like that. But it's actually, it isn't really about that. It's a rune about sacrifice and unlocking a hidden potential by giving up what is what you value at this moment, or what you would want at this moment, for something that will be more important later on. And let me explain why, right? The hero Yngvi was a great, one of these legendary epic warriors, right? Typical Viking sort of thing, and had done all kinds of wondrous deeds. And eventually he wanted to marry a princess of the giants. And to do so, he had to give up his magic sword, the sword that was, it was this incredible type of, Excalibur-esque magic sword that was going to be, that was capable of incredible feats, and that was his battle, his sword to use in battle, right? And he did it. He gave it up for her. And doing so meant that when the battle of Ragnarok came along at the end of time at the Götterdämmerung, then he wouldn't have that sword. He'd have to fight with like a reindeer horn or something like that, because he had that was the deal, right? But because he did this, he sired the great line of kings, right? And so this was the significance of it. Now, some people making a very really basic reading of that myth interpret that to be some kind of castration story, but it's not actually that. You could say that the Ingwaz rune is a closed circuit, right? By the way it looks. And so that closed circuit holds within it incredible power and potential. But if you want that incredible power and potential to come out, you have to crack the circuit. Another way of looking at Ingwaz is that it is like a seed. Okay, so a seed by itself has the potential, a tiny little seed to create this gigantic tree. But it can't do that unless that seed is buried in the ground and then the seed cracks, right? Unless it's cracked open, unless it stops being the seed, it cannot become the other bigger thing. So this is a symbol that is not, the giving up the sword is not really giving up some kind of virility, but rather it's to surrender what you are for what you could become, okay? And what could become of you in the world, the impact you have on the world, right, after you are gone. So this is about sacrifice. And it can also be about the idea of metamorphosis, right? Transforming into something else. And within that, of course, there is also an element of death, right? It is fertility, so it has the element of life and the element of death. And in a mystical sense, it also has an element of the of reaching beyond the limitations of your current understanding, and so then having an experience of hidden realities that you had not perceived before because you were in a shell, right? So if you crack open that shell, then suddenly the doors of perception open up to you. Ingwaz is part of a trilogy of runes along with Kenaz and Perthro that are about hidden power, right? So Kenaz is about the hidden creative power of light because it's a torch, and Perthro is about the hidden, or a fire, you could say, and Perthro is about the hidden power of water, which is to say the well of weird, because what is water? It's chance, right? It's random. In the Nordic context, water was chaos, right? And so out of that chaos comes all kinds of possibilities and dangers, right? And then Ingwaz is the hidden creative power of man, right? So another way to look at it besides seed is to think of this as the sperm, right? So I guess that's everything about this this rune. I think I've explained enough of it that it'll help you if you're using this in divination, if you get this rune, to understand the context of it. If this is the first of the rune videos you're looking at, you might want to check out the playlist that's on this channel, because this is, we're going in order, and so after this there's only 2 more. And if you are interested in in learning more about mysticism in other contexts, check out the other playlists on this channel. And if you want to study in a system of training that is not to do with the runes, but that is a system of spiritual training, then check out especially the playlist for the Yi Fa Society. And if you find that interesting, get in touch with me. I guess that's everything for today. Thank you very much.